Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And as you're going to notice, the panel is slightly different than you're used to. Unfortunately, Web Dave is under the weather. He got food poisoning, so he's not going to be joining us today. And Dreadpool had some really serious family things to take care of. He will be back hopefully next week. But I sent out the bat signal, or the boom signal, if you will, and we have a cast of characters. Boy, let me tell you, this is going to be one heck of a show. And you know something? The coverage that is going to happen today is going to be one segue after another. We're going to be talking ABK stuff, but it was what I'm excited to get into are the behind the scenes, the in between the lines things. We got new financial information regarding Sony's PlayStation 5 versus 2023 January and 2022, folks, and it's ridiculous. These are the kind of things that do make you as just forget being console centric. Let's just be regular people. I've always for me have always dealt with what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. No gray area. It's just the way it is. And when we get into the numbers that Sony has done, it's going to blow your mind. I mean, obviously, yesterday on X Vlog Live, we talked about how in 2022, and this is I have the stats, I have the numbers. You can argue with me about who's the better console. You can't argue numbers. And last year, Sony PlayStation made nearly $8 billion more than Xbox. Think about that for a second, folks. Not 8 million with an M, 8 billion with a B. Now, I don't know about you, but that screams market leader. Now, you can argue on how did they get there? Well, I mean, they released 4 first-party bangers. Now, some of them were commercial successes. Most of them were critical successes. But it's hard to argue that they had games for their customers from first party and a ton of console exclusives from second and third party. That's how you win. Microsoft is going to hopefully follow suit in 2023 as it's expected. We're also going to get into a story that is very, very concerning if you are a current employee at Activision, Blizzard, or King. And I say that, folks, because VGC dropped a story that has me vexed. Now, I have been very vocal on how I feel about Bobby Kotick as their leader, what he has not done to make the workplace safe for the people that are employed there, and how some of the things that were brought to light ultimately got them a lawsuit, and they just paid out millions of dollars because of that. Well, apparently, and according to the story, if the deal falls through, he will be staying on as the head chair for Activision Blizzard, and I think that is disgusting. Sorry, I got to call a spade a spade. Again, folks, this is going to be a solid 2 hours of opinions. The opening salvo, if you will, is going to be how PlayStation literally stopped answering Microsoft and Activision's calls. They are very, very unhappy with the 55-page document that has all of these demands and requests regarding the FTC's lawsuit. It's pretty crazy. We're going to break all of that down, but let's get into the introductions first. Start first with Retri, who obviously is the head dude, if you will, when it comes to anything and everything Game Pass. What's up, brother? Thanks so much for joining us.
What's going on, Boom? Excited to be here. I'm obviously, you guys heard me in the green room. I'm fired up with these topics. There's a lot of bad information out there right now.
Yeah.
Being passed around and people just going off, being Twitter lawyers, not knowing what the hell they're talking about. So I'm here to set some of that straight because Luke Steele and some other people ain't here. So yeah, so I'm gonna be a little fiery today.
No, we love a fiery retreat. That's what we
Let's do
have you here for, and I can't wait to get into it. But yeah, there is a lot of misinformation going on. Like I said on primetime on Wednesday, there were victory laps being taken by many of the anti-Xbox community, and you're just dumb. Sorry,
Yep.
you're just dumb because you're not a lawyer, and this is a deal that is the biggest in gaming history. And like I said, all you have to do is just follow the money, right? Look at what Sony has done in 2022. Look what they're already doing in 2023. Look what they've done in years and decades prior. They have been the top dog. And again, I take nothing away from the quality of the console, their devices that go along with it, their peripherals, and more importantly, the games. They may not be for you, but again, I don't think you can argue that they have been high quality, and that is why they have been the market leader. But more importantly, with all of that, is that their marketing is just ridiculous. It's on a level that I want to see Microsoft get to at least half of, rather than try to match them. If they match them, then it's a win for everybody. But their marketing is it's ridiculously good. And good marketing, what does it do? Well, it sells consoles, it sells games, it gets people to invest in your platform. But we're going to get into all of that. Crispy Bomb, I am expecting that you are going to be not only fiery, but that's why you showed up here today. Again, you're on Primetime Gaming, but whenever there's a big topic that you want to drop your bars on, well, here you go, brother. Welcome.
Boom. What's up, everybody? Hit that like, share us out, people. Let's go. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of melding of topics that can, hopefully we don't go too far ahead, some of us, because we're good for that. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a conversational podcast. We do have 2 hours to fill up a show, and being that we don't have a ton of topics, and it's really one major topic with a lot of little subtopics, it's all gonna merge together. Fuzzy Belvedere, you're normally here on Breakfast with Boom. You're one of the only people here from the regular podcast because we had one of those situations where life got in the way. But welcome. I know you have not only been fiery in the shows that you've done already this week, you've been fiery on Twitter for a lot of reasons. And I think that the injustice, if you will, that is running wild during, for this particular deal, it makes you angry. It makes me angry. But welcome, brother. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys, man. Just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it seems like there's nothing but roadblocks and I don't know, hurdles and stuff like that they've got to go through to get this deal across the line. But man, can't wait to get into it. Let's do this.
I'll say this, folks. Again, I don't have a law degree, right? Like, what my former employment was, so it's fine. Maybe I don't know the all ins and outs of business. I don't have a law degree that can tell me that I understand, the inner workings of such a deal of this size. But I do like to believe that sometimes common sense must come to the forefront of a conversation. And it seems like common sense, by just following the money, has been left out of this conversation on multiple levels, specifically with the FTC, with the CMA, and the EU Commission. And again, I think ultimately Microsoft is going to do everything and anything to get this deal done. I think it's a win-win if they do get concessions or remedies, as it's known in the European market. And they're going to be able to say, yeah, we battled big tech and we made them bend the knee. Microsoft's going to be like, yeah, we don't give a flying F. We gave up, it's going to stay on multiple consoles and platforms for the eternity. Who cares? They're going to be making money hand over fist. And that's why I can tell everyone. I know that this is, if you're into exclusives, then you hate this case. If you're into Game Pass, you love this, because all you're going to do is win. Do I care that the next Call of Duty is on Nintendo, Steam, and PlayStation? I can give a flying shit. Sorry. I don't care. You know what? Good for anyone that's on those platforms. But I can tell you what was going to be good for me as a retired dude that, watches his money closely. I won't have to buy the next Call of Duty because it's going to be in Game Pass. And that's important to me. And if it's important to you, then you're going to like what we're going to talk about. And last and no way least, once again, the best voice in the business, Infinite Umbra. I know when we in the DMs, the way that you said, yeah, I'm going to be there. I know you're going to have a lot to say.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of crazy stuff too, and it's even more, I think, that you might not have exactly in the notes to talk about today. So.
Yeah, we're going to get into everything. Like I said, folks, we're
Plenty
almost
of
at 400
crazy out
people
there.
here.
Mhm.
We're only 12 minutes into the show. If you are new and you're finding the channel for the first time, we are 200 and change away from hitting 12K. We would love to do it in the month of February. It would be a big boost to start the year. And if you are here already and you're already subscribed and you're enjoying the content, folks, hit that like button. It does not cost you a dime to do it. And Mrs. Boom and I greatly appreciate it because it does help with the algorithm that is just wacky when it comes to YouTube. So hit the like button. But I do want to bring up the story about the 55-page document. Now, this has been reported upon by several people, but I want to specifically talk about what is being asked for. Now, this 55-page document has been put. We know it's out there, right? And what is Microsoft asking for? For one of the things, I'm going to go first to Retri on this. Retri, when when we started, we were talking in the green room, and I was telling you that that this was happening. You had some questions. You're like, why would they specifically want to see? And you know what? I'm going to read it directly. Okay. Now, Tom Warren, who is obviously one of the lead editors at the and journalists at The Verge, he posted something that I thought was going to be a great conversation to open up. Now, for the last couple of days, even as early as last week, we learned that Sony PlayStation had been subpoenaed, but not only by Microsoft, but by the FTC to provide these documents that spell out what they've been doing in regards to marketing and holding content away from Xbox for the last 12 years. They asked for up to 3 postponements, and they were granted it. And on the 4th one, the judge had enough. Now, I don't know what amendment they're going to claim, or say that they can not have to provide documents that Microsoft is requesting. Which look, folks. I don't care what your education is. I don't care if you have doctors up the ass, or you're just someone that graduated high school and you got your diploma and you're happy with that. But these regulators all over the place, as if you really want to see what's going on, if you really want to dig your heels in the sand on your decision because you feel it's this or that, do a Google search and see what Sony has been up to. It's not rocket science, folks. Okay, maybe I know more because this is my life. This is what I do 5 days a week, 20 times a month. This is what I'm doing, and I freaking love it. But if I was in charge of making a monster decision like whether this deal goes through or not, I would be looking at who is the biggest complainer in this, and it's Sony. Sony, in some markets, have as much as 70%.
I'm losing you, Boom.
happening.
Sony money had it. Your mic share.
Maybe they did. Maybe they, you know
All
what?
right, I think you're back. You're
Okay, there we go.
looking
I don't know what happened, folks. But listen,
Jim Ryan was like,
Talking
"Oh,
smack- I
yeah.
know.
boy, cut
Talking
his mic.
slant about
That's enough.
Sony, and then all of a sudden,
That's enough.
Yeah.
Cut his
Well,
mic."
look, I don't want to repeat everything I just said. I don't know where I cut out. I'm going to hand it
You
over
weren't
to you,
wrong.
Retri. Retri, look, there is this 55-page document that comes the way of Tom Warren, and he says this: Microsoft wants a lot of documents from Sony for the FTC lawsuit, and Sony is not happy with the 55-page set of demands or asks. And according to Sony, this is their response: Microsoft's demand of performance reviews for SIE's leadership is obvious harassment. That was their answer. Now, you had asked specifically, what the F does that mean? And I'm telling you, and again, I could be wrong, and if so be it, I'll admit it, but that's performance bonuses that they want to see. And those performance bonuses are deals being made to keep games off of Xbox. And I believe that's what it is. But let's get into your opinion about the asks from Microsoft. Do you think they're justified to prove a point?
I do. I think Sony saying what Sony said, harassment is laughable at best, because don't we kind of feel like they've been doing that to Microsoft and Activision specifically? So I was confused about the ask for the employees and but when you brought up that point, a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh my God, the bonuses for money hatting games makes perfect sense. Like, if they know that's going on, and it probably is going on, every time they do that, you get a little bit of extra from stopping Xbox from growing, because that's what happens. Because even my wife, who knows not much about video games, I was telling her I was getting Hogwarts, and what did she say? Take a guess what she said, Boom, about Hogwarts.
Is that a PlayStation exclusive?
Bingo, exactly. Yeah. She doesn't know anything about this stuff, and she's like, "Well, I saw an ad for that. I thought, isn't that just on Sony?" It's like, it works.
Can I add some context? Can I add some context for that? Hargeet Chani, who's probably listening right now, on Primetime Gaming says, "You know what? My sister, she doesn't play games. She barely does." And she asked me, "Is Hogwarts a PlayStation exclusive?" Same exact thing. Now, the person you're talking about and and his sister would be considered the extremely casual audience.
My wife literally only plays Overwatch once in a great while, and it might play Hogwarts because she loves Harry Potter.
Right.
So, I mean, guys, the proof is in the pudding. This is what we're not talking to you. We're talking about what I call the normies. We're talking about the regular people, the regular Joes, as Boom says. Those are the people that see this and just assume that it's on PlayStation. That is dangerous for Xbox. It's worked in the past, right? That's I don't know. Boom. The stuff that they're asking for, I don't think is crazy. I do have a question for you, because I don't know the answer to this. When it comes, they got to the 15th, right, for Microsoft, and that the judge has said that, correct?
I think
on
it's
the subpoena
the 10th.
side.
I think it is the 10th. I think it's
today?
Monday. No, I'm sorry. Today's the 10th. I'm surprised we haven't heard. Now, I did hear the 15th. Maybe they gave them 15th. And maybe they gave them an additional 5 days, but I originally heard it was the 10th. So if again, it's just 10 o'clock now, and I don't know. Obviously, if it's West Coast time, it's not even the courts aren't even open at this point.
That's probably what it is, because I think, and you probably got the 5 in your head, Retri, because I think it was maybe the 5th was the first deadline or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
it
No,
may be.
man, I could have
something.
swore it was
It
the
was pushed.
15th. I swear I'm maybe
I think it was
crazy.
the 10th though. I think Boom was
Maybe
right.
they asked. Maybe Sony might. Maybe they asked for the 15th, and maybe that's what the judge said no on. But I know the FTC's was for the 15th as well, because I remember saying, oh, okay, the FTC was asking for the same date. It was going to land on the same day as Microsoft. Maybe
It's
I'm
kind of
crazy.
hilarious though that all of them jockeying for position. You know that's what it is, right? Like the
100%.
FTC, the CMA, all of them are
Yeah.
jockeying. I'll get on it when I speak. on it,
Have
but-
we heard anything? Maybe you know, Umbra. Have we heard anything in regards to Sony's reaction to the FTC subpoena? Have
Well,
we
I'm
heard
gonna
anything on that?
Let me answer that question because Tom Warren, who might be in the chat, because Tom does come around every now and again, he posted 2 paragraphs from the legal document, and it says this exactly. I'm going to read it verbatim, folks, so there's no mistake, and I'm not, adding a word or changing anything. I'm going to read it literally verbatim as it was posted by Tom Warren. Microsoft's subpoena to SIE is truly massive. Since receiving it, SIE has engaged in 5 meet and confers with Microsoft, served a 55-page set of detailed written responses and objections at Microsoft's demand, and had extensive correspondence with Microsoft. On the evening of February 1st, 2023, SIE and Microsoft generally agreed that SIE would produce files from 7 identified custodians, but numerous additional scope issues remained. SIE requested an extension of time to resolve this, but Microsoft refused unless SIE agreed to file a partial motion to quash on the issue of Microsoft's choice 2 days later. This gamesmanship by Microsoft is insufficient and inappropriate. It goes on to say, Microsoft's demand for performance reviews for SIE's leadership is obvious harassment. Even in employment cases, courts require a specific showing of relevance before requiring production of personnel files. And it says CEG Achille versus Chestnut Ridge. It goes on to say this is not an employment case. Microsoft speculates that these documents may candidly discuss the performance of SIE's gaming business, and it has E. Clark 131 email at 8. Well, I don't know what that means, but SIE will be producing ordinary course documents that directly relate to its gaming business in the files of the 7 custodians. And it says see subpoena document request number 14 and 16. So I think what we're talking about here, I think it's easy to suggest that some of Sony's employees, I should say, do get bonuses for getting these deals locked down, and I think that is the picture they are trying to paint, or at least one of.
Yeah, I mean, in a long, very long history of money hatting, outside of even the bonuses, what's more important is just to see the history of PlayStation marketing rights. I mean, I think marketing rights are another thing to look at too. How many times have they done that?
I mean,
I know, but look at marketing rights for Sony, how often that happens versus Microsoft. I mean, it's like, it's not even comparable, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm talking third-party stuff, obviously. I mean,
right.
First-party stuff doesn't count. But and then you have them money hatting all these games, and a long history of doing that. That's what I think this really behind the scenes is trying to showcase, that they have a history of doing this, and it's calling the kettle black, essentially. You know what I mean?
Look,
I don't know.
This is going to be a revolving door of opinions and questions to one another. Folks, we have over 500 people here on a Friday morning. I want to thank everyone that's taken the time to tune in. Hopefully there are a lot of new viewers and that you are enjoying the incredible conversation that we're having. Listen, let's bring in Crispy Bomb.
Hold
Crispy,
on, Boom, real quick.
Yes.
This is kind of for anyone who's playing Hogwarts. Galveston just wrote, last chance to get Merlin's cloak for Hogwarts is today by watching 20 minutes of Avalanche's Twitch channel. Supposed to start in 45 minutes.
I was wondering about that actually. So
in case y'all want that.
I do
I'll see
want
you
it
later.
because that
Telling
game
you
has my
about
life. I am
Richard.
officially addicted to that
Thanks,
game.
Galveston.
It is. I'm gonna watch that. What is it? It's their Twitch channel, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll just sign into Twitch and watch it because I don't know.
might
I
as
don't
well
know
do
who
that
else is
too.
playing it. I can tell you right now, it is already
gonna
my
start
game of
today.
the year.
Who do you have to log into? Which channel?
Yeah, I Twitch, the Avalanche Twitch channel.
Avalanche. Okay.
Yeah, Avalanche. Yeah.
Cool.
But thank you for that, Retro. Definitely appreciate that. Crispy Bomb, listen, if you don't know Crispy, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's why we love him. And he is not shy about telling you or giving you the business. And I'm sure you're going to be annoyed by what is going on. You've said it before, but we have new information about this case, about what is being requested of Sony, which I don't actually think is irrelevant to the lawsuit. Again, the FTC came out and said that they are concerned for what happens to Sony. But Sony is the market leader today. They were the market leader in January 1st of 2023. They were the market leader all of 2022. And I could just keep going back and back and back. And all you have to do, again, folks, if you want to be a dummy like me and talk like you know what you're talking about, do a simple Google search. And it will tell you everything you need to know about the way Sony does business. Crispy, is what Microsoft asking for is out of the realm of what should be asked?
I say let's see all the hidden eggs in the basket. Yeah,
Mhm.
let's see them all. Here's the thing, Sony, you asked for it. You have been the
Yep.
proponent against this. You
Yeah.
asked for it.
Yep.
And I think, relevance, okay, you could say there's none. We don't really know yet, because if you really look at, marketing dominance at this point, which, in realism, Sony continues their dominance. I mean, the Hogwarts thing, I have heard many people be like, is that only on PlayStation? And I'm like,
Oh, yes.
dude, like, and you're like, well, it's just PlayStation. And I'm like, they got
This is
you,
a Destiny situation all over again.
Yes, exactly.
and they
That's
do
why I
this
say the
all
marketing deals
time.
matter. Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, and don't get me wrong, sometimes we look at admiration to say, Xbox, you can't do this once in a while, a little bit more, like not take like a Battlefield or something. Like, could we like, get a game that's like, big and, but you also have to realize right now we should be getting a ton of exclusives. So
Right.
your marketing budget really needs to go towards that. I mean, to be honest. So, you really look at it, what is the dealings? What are the entailings of these type of things? And also, it's getting very personal towards Sony, and Sony, you kind of made it that way
Mhm.
by continuing this fight, regardless of your stature in the gaming industry. And I think that's something that people need to look at. Like, they are the market leader. They do have technically what we consider be monopolies in some regions. Why are they fighting this so bad? Especially after these offers have come out about the 10 years and this and that. You have asked, we've gone all the way to the court now, and now even the FTC is looking for stuff, because somebody was probably like, hey, there's something to be seen here. We just need to be able to see it. And I think, regardless of how they approach it, they're going to try to prolong this as long as possible. I'm just curious. They are acting like they didn't know that this could be coming, which is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because they continue to push it out. You're going to start angering people like the judge and stuff like that. They're going to get annoyed with this, and they're not going to like how Sony's treating this. It's not a laugh fest here. This is a court case. You know what I mean? Now, regardless of it going straight into, being actual court and being the FTC's judge, it's still a court case, and it needs to be treated that way. And Sony's got it, they're going to have to either come up with these documents or have, a great argument of why not to. And I don't know. I think the FTC might back up Microsoft on this the way it's looking. So we'll see.
I'll say this: there are two scenarios, and again, understand that I know criminal law, I understand the patrol guide, I understand the penal law, I understand all of it because I did it for 21 years. I don't understand business law, but I can tell you that an entity or person or persons, if they defy the judge has the right to hold them in contempt of court. Right now, either Sony is going to deliver the documents that have been requested, and they're going to be reviewed. And here's the thing that Sony doesn't want to happen, folks. When a court document is filed, it immediately becomes public record. If it's public record, that means that you and me and everyone in the chat and the panel have the right to read. Now, there might be some redacted stuff, like some financial stuff that cannot be put out there, and that we've seen that happen. But for the most part, we will, as citizens, as tax-paying citizens, we have the right to read that public document. This is what Sony doesn't want. So we know what Sony is doing, right? And they think that they've been playing us for fools all these years. I know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. And they do it because no one has stopped them before. No one has said anything to Sony. In some regions, they would be considered a monopoly. Just ask how passionate Hargeet Chani is about that, specifically in the UK. They are God there. Microsoft barely scratches an itch. It is Sony all day long and all night long as well. And that's thanks to Jim Ryan, because he obviously did some really powerful things in that region to make PlayStation #1 when he was running the European branch before they made him the head honcho. So that's one thing that could happen. Or they can invoke an amendment that says that, that they're not going to produce said documents and they're covered under amendment, whatever. Is that possible? Sure. Is it likely? I honestly don't know. I do I want to bring in Fuzzy Belvedere because he's also very spicy, but I have to bring up GameIndustry.biz. They produced an article that completely flipped my mind. Comparing years, 2020, January 2022 versus January 2023 for specifically PlayStation, folks. And this is being reported again by GameIndustry.biz. PlayStation 5 sales year over year, and this is no bullshit, are up nearly 100%. 98% is what is being reported.
Ridiculous.
Think about that for a second. Not 15%, not 20%, which any company would be flipping over excited for. Not even 50%, which would be God tier profits. Near 100% increase year over year. That is what the market leader is doing. How is it that we don't see this? And when you see these numbers being reported by someone like GameIndustry.biz, which I trust, it's hard to suggest that these requests from Microsoft to Sony are irrelevant. What are your takes on this, Fuzzy?
It's just funny to me as far as the overall when it comes to getting to the whole harassment and subpoena thing. It's not harassment. It's just findings or discovery aspect as far as getting info on contracts and other dealings and go-betweens. And like you guys had said before, when it comes to finding out if they receive bonuses or any incentives as far as, keeping things off the competitor and so forth. But when it comes to the sales of Sony, like almost 100% or 98% increase in sales, it's like, that goes to show that when you have, I guess, inventory readily available, when whatever behind the scenes issues they were having before with chips and whatnot, it looks like they got all that resolved. And to have that amount of sales increase year over year is an unbelievable feat for any company, let alone one for consoles, especially given the times what they are as far as cost of living and
Yep.
harder times and whatnot. But that should go to show you, if they're able to increase their year over year sales and it's after the pandemic, like it's not like everybody's stuck at home anymore and are looking for other means as far as entertainment. This is after that issue or that pandemic or problem, and they're still able to achieve those numbers. It goes to show them being the industry leader that they are, that their opposition to this deal, I can't imagine half of those sales are centered around Call of Duty. Like it shouldn't their I guess objection should be heard, but there shouldn't be much weight to it because a lot of those were their bundled deals. So they sold a lot of God of War console bundles. They sold a lot of, Horizon Forbidden West bundles.
This is on the heels of a $50 price increase on top of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're and it's funny. It's some of the things that they were afraid of, as far as the regulators were afraid of with the deal of Microsoft acquiring, Activision. It's like, oh, they'll raise prices, lower quality, and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, not as much about the lower quality, but look who raised the prices, not only on the products, but overall the cost for the games themselves. They were like one of the first few that kind of dipped their toe in it. Now, Activision, obviously, of course, being one of the other ones, along with Take-Two, but a lot of the things that they were afraid of, or the regulators were afraid of, are being propagated by Sony, and they're running away with console sales and growth year over year, to the point where it seems like just laughable that they're being protected to some extent, where it says, oh well, gamers will be harmed by this acquisition, yet how so? Like I don't know. It's mind-boggling in the sense that I know we were going to always be here as far as this phase of this ongoing acquisition, but it just seems like there's either a tone deafness or ineptness of some of these regulators, that they're kind of going off of the market leader who's running away with profits, saying, "Oh yeah, these guys are going to hurt us if they do this, but don't mind this big bag of cash behind us because well that's what we're used to, so that we don't want to lose this type of thing. You gotta help us make sure we can continue doing this."
A lot of it doesn't make any sense, does it, Fuzzy?
No, it doesn't.
Does not.
I got a theory. I got a theory about that. I'm going to put on my tinfoil kufi for this one.
I want to add something, Fuzzy. I want to add some context to what you were saying about the quality going down.
Mhm.
And I'll let you finish, and I'll hand the mic over to Infinite, because he's gonna be here for a minute. But folks, am I lying when I say that there has been countless marketed games for PlayStation that the quality for Series X
somehow mysteriously is terrible somehow? Yeah.
I mean, folks, I'm sorry. I know you're gonna be like, "Oh, that Boom is a character. He's a conspiracy theorist." Listen, I give Sony all of the flowers that they deserve. They have dominant first party, incredible development studios, and their marketing is freaking god tier. Okay, but you got to admit they're a bunch of scumbags over there. I'm sorry. It's got to be said. They play dirty, and they've been playing dirty for years. And hearing them cry and limp into court saying that big old bad Microsoft beat them up when they are it's not even a joke. They are such the market leader. It's not even funny. But take it away, Fuzzy. Finish off your point.
Yeah, I just it's so funny. If being for a loss for words because of how this is playing out, I'm looking forward to how things go between April and June, but this deal just it's been one surprise after another on how this just is ongoing and playing out. But I've rambled enough. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, again, we got 600 people here. Thank you so much. It's another, we're breaking records left and right on Double Barrel Gaming. We had almost 800 people in the chat for Primetime Gaming, which is almost, it is a record for us. Never had that many people. Umbra, before I get to you, brother, let me just catch up on Super Chats. There's been quite a few of them. We got someone new to the chat that I haven't seen before, because I would have remembered the name, Lieutenant Hulk. Salute to you, brother. He drops not one, but two Super Chats. The first one of $2. He says, #ABK, please, #sell Call of Duty, Diablo, and King, and be done with it. He also drops an additional $5 Super Chat and says, at this point, Microsoft should just buy the IPs like Call of Duty and Diablo and King and just be done with it. I mean, I think they want the whole kit and caboodle, dude. And there's nothing that is going to happen, especially when they're offering parity and 10-year deals. They are literally giving everything. They are quelling or squashing every concern that the regulators have, and that's why I think the deal is going to go through. Bunty, who's been a channel member for a long time, for over a year, drops a very generous $10 and says, Wagwan, boom, and panel. Enough respect. I'm here on a Friday. I haven't been here live in a long time. Let's have a great weekend, everyone. Well, thank you so much for the generosity, brother, but thank you for being here as well. Brett Bingham drops not one, but two $5 Super Chats and says, the first one, would it be a shame if Sony finally gets kneecapped over deceptive marketing for third-party games? I mean, it could be suggested. I mean, you just heard two different points of views that people thought it was an exclusive when it wasn't, right? I mean, we've seen their marketing where it says PlayStation 5 exclusive pair of pants in small little and small font. It's like a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and in very little font that you need a magnifying glass or bifocals, it says, a backpack, like a Smurf backpack is exclusive. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. He also drops an additional $5 Super Chat and says, why is it that at least 4 regulatory committees saw through Sony's BS, but the CMA and FTC can't?
A little too coincidental, isn't it?
I want to say I don't want to say corruption.
Put that tinfoil hat on, Boom. It's okay.
Look, I've said this before. I've said this again. If it looks like corruption and it smells like corruption, then folks, pardon my French, it's fucking corruption. So I don't know what ultimately is going to happen, but it is wild when the information, and again, I apologize for the cursing. Normally we don't curse on this show, but it's just frustrating. And again, you ask, why do I care? Why am I in a bot? Am I an X-bot? Is that what it is? Is that what, do I want to see Microsoft win? No, it is not that. What it is, very simply, and quite frankly, the truth is that I'm a retired dude, and I have all 3 consoles, and I have to pay full price for games on the Switch, which now have been raised to $70, and I only buy my PlayStation first party, so I'm really not spending too much. But I need value to justify the spending sometimes, and Game Pass gives me that value hand over fist. And when you get games like Hi-Fi Rush in there, you get games like the one from the Russian team that's coming out next week.
Stalker.
Stalker 2, but Atomic Heart. It makes the $15 a month well worth its price in gold. And if the deal goes through for ABK, Diablo 4 will be in Game Pass.
Yeah.
The next Call of Duty after 2024 will be in Game Pass. Whatever they decide to come up with.
Don't you mean 2023, Boom?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be in the Game Pass because Sony has the marketing rights for this year, and there is apparently a Call of Duty coming this year when it was originally supposed to be just DLC. Listen, I don't know how true that is, but we'll talk about it. But Infinite Umbra, let's hear what you have to say about this document and why you are frustrated, where you felt like you were forced to put on the tinfoil hat.
Yeah, because like the thing I noticed when all of us talk about this thing, and of course, For anybody in the chat that might be like, but you guys are just armchair, lawyers. You don't know anything. You're right, right? Ultimately,
Yeah,
But
they absolutely are right. Yeah,
but common sense is not only given to somebody who's a lawyer. Like we're intelligent men, and it's common sense after a point where some things don't add up. And the one thing I noticed when we all talk about this is how strange a lot of it feels. I hear it from Retri when he talked about it. I heard it from Crispy. I heard it from Fuzzy a second ago, and that's why I chimed in when Fuzzy was saying it. And you too, Boom. And I've heard it on other podcasts because I visit and frequent everybody, right? And the one thing I always come back to is that things don't add up logically, because the argument is from the CMA or CMA or the FTC is how it affects, and of course, the EU. Well, the EU is a little different, but they've all come back with this. Oh, it'll negatively affect consumers, and we ask how, and there is no realistic answer to that. It's never a viable, logical answer, is it, Retri?
Nope. Never.
So the only thing I can come
politics.
to, and we know it's politics. That's 100% the case here in America for the FTC. That's not a question. But then you say, why the CMA? Why the EU? Why are they doing that? And then you see the situation where they put out the other day about their list of possible remedies that they can do behaviorally, right? Because that's the first thing they'll do.
Right.
And it's like, if they're already going to that, and remember, by the way, the FTC sued for Microsoft to say, hey, we're going to take you, we're suing to stop this from going through, because they saw that the CMA and the EU were already about to acquiesce.
Right.
You hear now also where Microsoft pointed out to the judge that Sony has deployed delegations of executives, large teams of outside lawyers, high-end, high-price economists to persuade people out there. Do you all, and I said this before, Boom, I don't know if you remember, it was a past show episode of yours here. And I pointed out tinfoil headery time again, where I said, I don't put it past any government body or governing body of anything to be corrupt, especially here in America. So the CMA and the EU are not exempt. So who is to say that, and we have what we have here as lobbyists, that is bribery, but legally. You think they don't have that over there?
Of course they do.
Of course.
Jazz.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen Jazz talk about
That's Jazz.
Yeah, I'm sure Jim Ryan came over there with a nice can of beans and said, "Hey, chap,
mayo, beans and mayo.
Let me talk with you. Let me put a bug in your ear." I don't know, but there is no doubt in my mind, because none of this adds up logically, why it would be against Microsoft here. They can't come up with a reasonable answer. And I pointed to you like this. I saw Nick's in the chat a second ago. Nick's no shade to you, brother, but even in your own comments, you're like, Sony is dominating. Ha ha ha. They're selling so well.
You know what's funny? Let me just stop you right there, because I want to address this. I run a very legit show. Anyone that has worked with me understands that I put my heart and soul into this. It's not for the money. It's for the industry that I know and love. And I'm talking directly for Nick, N-I-K. He says this, and I'm gonna withdraw from saying what I really want to say. He says, maybe you should find another hobby, bud. Now, I don't know if you're talking to me per se regarding me wanting value, but I will say this. I don't know if you're a 20-year-old punk who's just coming here to be an a-hole, but I was probably gaming before your parents were born. Okay.
Oh, snap.
So put that in your mindset. I've been gaming since 78, brother. And anyone that knows me knows that my wife and I bring a significant amount of goodness to the industry when it could be really shitty. Right. And if you want, I appreciate you being here, but if you're going to be a dick, you're just going to get banned. And that's perfectly fine with me. I don't need your sub. I don't need your view. I don't need comments that are shot from the hip like that. Understand that we're not saying that Sony isn't good at what they're doing. What we're saying is that what is happening is bull. But I'll let you continue, Umbra.
Oh no, that was much needed. But no shade to you, Nick. I just noticed your comments. But I was saying that to say, notice though, we all know the obvious is that Sony is killing it. You just pointed out the 90%, 98%, excuse me,
Right.
rocket marketing, no, not marketing, excuse me, what they gained year over year. And then of course we saw the numbers that came out, like that Benji would share and things of that nature. Sony is doing exceptionally well.
Yep.
So much so, almost like a monopoly. So why would a monopolistic situation almost with Sony, especially in the UK, where Microsoft has been revealed to only have a 10% market share? Why would they be against this for Microsoft? It doesn't add up, right? The only viable and logical conclusion is that Sony has too much sway over there. Now, they might say it's not corruption per se. We just lobbied them. But again, lobbying is just legal bribery. You can
100%.
dance around it however you want, but that's
Lobbying
what it is.
equals corruption always.
Exactly. I want lobbying out of politics personally here in America. I've always said it for years.
Yep.
And you can look no further than Big Pharma, where they lobby these politicians all the time. And that's why our prices skyrocket and things of that nature. I'm not going to get too political, but my point is to say there is no doubt in my mind where a lot of this makes no logical sense. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because they're doing things illogically, and they're doing it illogically because they've been, in my opinion, paid off, or they've been incentivized. It's the only thing that makes sense. And Sony is dominant over in UK. We've all said it. Nick, you pointed out in the comment yourself. I was saying that to point out to you that, yeah, it's clear that Sony is super dominant. They're doing exceptionally well. They are the clear market leader. There is no reason why this acquisition should not go through. And I'm going to say the deal will go through. I don't even doubt it at this point. The reason why a lot of this is happening and why the CMA even came up with those conclusions that they came up with and possible remedies is because they're ready to acquiesce, and they're just hoping to get that win. Well, we got Microsoft to give this up, and that's what they're all hoping for. They're all jockeying for position when it comes to that. That's what it all comes to. And Brentry, I think you mentioned it earlier, and I think also Crispy, you might have mentioned it too, where you guys were talking about how Sony is doing these things and they let it allow to do this and that. The reason why they reacted the way they did by not now communicating with Microsoft, and apparently now they're supposedly talking with them, but you had Kotick come out and say they're not talking to anybody at Microsoft. He's not going to lie about that.
No,
so,
I mean, it was true at one point.
Absolutely.
They weren't talking until they were talking. And
exactly.
I think Kotick saying that, I think, was probably the same day they called Microsoft.
I agree. They saw the headlines, were like, oh, let's correct that.
Yep.
So in my mind, with them doing all those things and it coming to light, to me, what was I going with that? Because I kind of lost my thought.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, you're good,
brother.
You're good, brother. But I was kind of going a long-winded spree. But my whole thing was to say, them doing it. That's where I was going. The reason why Sony is doing those things, and we've been saying it for years, it's happened on and off for Sony. They have this thing about them generationally, especially when they're the market leader, where they get supremely arrogant. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yes, yeah,
and
it's fact.
That's why we had skyrocketed prices for the PS3. Remember how that skyrocketed? They thought, oh, we can just give you this giant enemy crab. They just thought, here you go, you're going to pay for it. And then they found out the hard way. That's when Microsoft started dominating with the 360, and they had to turn it around for the PS4. And then they were clever. They waited for Microsoft to go first and say what they said. Oh, we're not going to put a camera into the thing. They removed that camera immediately. They removed their DRM practices immediately, right after that. But they were going to do the exact same thing Microsoft was going to do. Sony is clever.
Yeah.
And so I don't put it past them. And I say that because they're clever. I do not put it past them and their high-powered and high-paid lawyers and their positioning over there with Jim Ryan and all the people they have in the UK with the positioning they have in market as a market leader, that they can sway people over there politically to delay or to, because for instance, they even had the 3 delays that Microsoft didn't protest. Then they went for a 4th. You only do that if you're arrogant enough to think you'll get away with it. You know what I mean? They even defied the subpoena by the FTC and was saying, well, they're trying to fight that. So you only do that, for one, if you're scared to reveal stuff, which we know they don't want to reveal. And you're only doing some of the things they do is if you're arrogant enough to think you'll get away with it, and they probably will get away with some of these things, just to say, because of their positioning, you know. But the thing is that they have a beast that they're going against in Microsoft, and the Microsoft has a winning case. This is why I'm not worried about the deal going through, the acquisition going through. I'm sure there will be concessions, as we all have said many times.
There might be monster concessions. There might
Mhm.
be so many concessions. You're going to be scratching your head like, I can't believe they did that, but they want this deal done.
Yep.
And, you know, like I said, I would give them the kitchen sink simply because I said this before. If you are someone, Umbra, that is all into the exclusivity thing, so you can, you know, put another badge on your trophy list or wall, this is not the deal for you.
Mhm.
But if you are someone that likes money, and Microsoft loves money, who gives a flying F if it's on PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam? You know what
Exactly.
that means? Extra money for you to invest in potentially other
Yep.
studios and IPs,
I
and
agree.
hire more talent and
100%.
do things what Microsoft does with their money and invest.
You know, one other thing I'll say too, Boom, that I noticed is, like, I'll ask better yet, it's a question, because we had this discussion. It was myself and I think Mr. Joanna Dark, and I've seen it posited before by other people. They said, well, what if Microsoft, and I saw actually some journalists put it, what if they divest? Because remember that some of the things that the CMA was suggesting, that they could have divestitures. I'm not saying the word correct. I know I'm not.
No, you are. That's
They
correct.
can,
That's
they,
true.
they can
Yeah.
divest. I'll just say divest. I'll keep it simple. They can divest Call of Duty. And
Right.
I saw that and was like, nah. To me, that would be admitting defeat. To me, that would defeat the purpose of
It would
you
also
even
get
going
rid of
through
8
one.
studios that make Call of Duty. So
Absolutely.
it makes no sense. Like,
It,
they
to
could
me-
not logistically do that.
I agree.
I mean, some people
to
were
me, it doesn't
talking
add
about
up.
taking the IP out of it and keeping the studios. I don't like either one of those scenarios personally.
Neither do I. And I think Microsoft knows what they're doing, and we all know what they're doing. Nobody's dumb. The center jewel here outside of King is obviously Call of Duty. Why in the world would they get rid of that? And the fact that was even brought
And
up
its
as
user
them-
base
and its
and
user
the
base.
data that comes from that user base.
Exactly.
Data. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
so keeping in mind that they're saying, oh, one of the things you can do is just, you know, divest Call of Duty. That's a non-starter for me. That's like, nah, you didn't even say what you just said. I'm ignoring what you just said, because that defeats the entire purpose of the acquisition, and we all know it. In my eyes, that's admitting defeat. It's a slap to their own face to even have it suggested. Honestly, I'd be like, okay, that's what's your next suggestion, CMA? Because that's not working, you know. But again, I'll just close out by saying, basically, I believe the deal will go through. You've had analysts come out. I know people are iffy of Michael Patrick, but he's so and such. But he gave good
He's so
reasoning.
sure though.
Yeah, he said 98% sure.
98%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
funny enough, 98%.
The same
sure.
number that went up from for Microsoft. for PlayStation sales in
Coincidence?
January. So
I think not. Tinfoil hat off.
that's right.
I'm done.
No. I mean, look. We will know in a couple of weeks. I think the day that Microsoft is to present all of their remedies to the CMA are the 22nd of February, which is in a couple of weeks. Now we know what the FTC is doing. We know what the CMA is doing. What we don't know is what the EU Commission is doing. And I would imagine that potentially this week we should hear from them and what they're asking for, whether they agree to it wholeheartedly. You know, I'm sure it's going to be very similar to the CMA. But if you read some of what the CMA had to say, a lot of people who with knowledge of this kind of law were in the belief that there was a door opened up for Microsoft to do something to get this deal done, and they did say that during this phase of the investigation, they did not consider the 10-year deal that was offered to Nintendo, PlayStation, and Steam. They're going to then take all of that information into the remedies aspect of the investigation, which is what they're doing now. They're sitting down with with one another, and they're trying to hash it out. I know that normally they like the CMA traditionally does not like anything outside of structural changes, meaning that Microsoft would have to sell off this, that, and the third to get the deal done. They did say, though, that they would take other deals, that are contractable, and that's what we're talking about with the 10-year deals. None of us really know, but I am going to say that everyone had absolutely stunning opinions. Again, we have almost 700 people here, which is pretty crazy for a Friday morning. If you're enjoying the conversation, hang around for another hour, folks, because we got another hour left of talk. And I want to get into an aspect that has bothered me from inception. And I'm talking about the report that comes the way of VGC. VGC, videogameschronicles.com. They posted this story, and it is concerning for me. Look, I'm ex-law enforcement, right? I don't shy. I'm as clear as glass. I'm transparent as possible. It's what I did for 21 years. It was a dream job. I had the greatest career you could possibly imagine because I went and policed my own neighborhood, and it was great. It was amazing. Ever since I started hearing what was going on at Activision Blizzard, as former law enforcement, sickened me to my stomach. The hazing, the people not being paid because of their color, race, creed, or sexual orientation, women being paid less than men, all of the kind of things that you hear that goes on in corporate America that should make you sick to your stomach as a human being was going on there. One of the most egregious things that we heard was a group of developers thought that it would be really cool to have something called the Cosby Room. And if you don't know who Bill Cosby is, well, he was convicted of sexual assault and rape, folks. So what does that say is going on under the watchful eye of Bobby Kotick? We've heard stories where he, in an email, threatened an employee's life because they either said something or did something that he didn't like. He needs to go. He needs to go. He should have been gone. Unfortunately, he hopefully will be gone with this when this deal is done. But we have learned, okay, that, again, I'm reading verbatim from the story that was posted on February 10th. It was written by Chris Scullion, who's one of the writers and journalists over at the Video Games Chronicle. Bobby Kotick will absolutely remain Activision CEO if Microsoft deal fails, it's claimed. Previous reports suggested that Kotick planned to leave following the deal going through. And again, I'm going to read verbatim from the story. In January of 2022, the Wall Street Journal reported that sources said to be familiar with Kotick's plans told the outlet they expected the controversial CEO to leave the company. While it has still to be definitively confirmed whether this is actually the case, Fox Business News now claims Kotick will stay on as CEO if the deal ultimately breaks down. And the publication claims that according to sources close to the situation, Bobby Kotick will absolutely, quote unquote, remain at the gaming giant to run the company should regulators derail the planned takeover. I don't know about you folks, but this kind of pisses me off because, first of all, if you want to go into deeper some of the things that he's been accused of and some of the ongoings that have been known that have been brought to the forefront, they just paid millions and millions of dollars of fines during a lawsuit for Activision, and to have him still on I think is a travesty of justice. But Retri, I know you're going to be fiery with this one, brother. Go ahead, take it away.
I'm sorry, Boom. I was just setting up the Avalanche stream so I can get that freak stuff from Hogwarts.
Yeah, do you
anyways, yeah. So Bobby's an effing scumbag, to put it nicely. He's one of those guys. He's got a very punchable face. I just look at him and you just want to sock him in the mouth. The guy needs to go. Obviously, I'm hoping, like we were talking in the green room, I'm kind of hoping, just like we believe Sarah is being groomed to take over Phil's job. I really like Lulu. Lulu is awesome, and I'm hoping that she will take over for Bobby.
She would be an amazing fit for that job. I agree.
Don't play. I love some
Lulu
Lulu.
don't play, and she's spicy, and I love her. I'm here for it. So, I mean, the employees had like, I think it was 1,900 people trying to get like sign a petition or whatever, out of the 10,000 trying to get rid of Bobby like a while ago, and they kept him. You know what I mean? So does it surprise me that an older white guy who harassed people and got away with it, not shocking, would stay at Activision Blizzard if Microsoft doesn't step in? Absolutely not. I read the story and I was like, of course, America, welcome to America. This crap happens all the time. These guys get away with it. It almost seems like they're untouchable, right? We know if Microsoft takes over, it would be an absolute the stupidest PR move of all time to keep Bobby, because everyone and their mother will be writing stories if they were to be dumb enough to keep Bobby after the acquisition. Now, he may not, if it does happen, if Microsoft does acquire ABK, which I think they will, don't expect Bobby to go right away. There will be a transitional period. So not everyone, and there's going to be a bunch of journalists jumping the gun because they don't understand how basic corporations and business works, where they're going to be saying all kinds of stuff about Microsoft when everyone knows, who's got a brain in between their ears, that this takes time transitionally. He's going to have to let the next person know how everything runs through ABK. That's just going to happen, right? But if he stays on, like screw Activision, like they deserve every bit of crap that they get if they're stupid enough to keep him on. And Microsoft ain't going to do it. I can't see a world where they would do that.
Yeah, that screams
It's
PR nightmare already. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't want it. You don't want to see, we're proud of having somebody like Phil and Sarah in charge of Xbox, and Aaron Greenberg and guys like that. We don't want Bobby sitting next to icons like that. I just don't. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. He's a piece of trash. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the story, Boom, except that I wish I was surprised, but I am not. I'm disappointed. I hope this isn't true. I mean, it is VGC. They're usually pretty good with this stuff. So, Kotick has got to go. He has to go. But we'll find out. We'll see what happens, right? It's not. We're not going to have to wait too much longer before we find out where all the chips, are falling and what's going to happen with this whole thing, anyways. So,
well, look, I have a quote here, a crispy, that I want to read to you, and I'll let you go crazy. I'll go ham on this. It says this. This is according to the story that was posted by VGC. No discussions or negotiations regarding post-closing employment arrangements with Microsoft occurred between Microsoft and Mr. Kotick prior to the approval and the execution of the merger agreement and the transaction contemplated thereby, or have occurred subsequent to such approval and execution, though through the date hereof, and this is what the report is claiming. It says here, should he be terminated following Microsoft's acquisition, Kotick could be in line to receive hundreds of millions of dollars for his said termination. I think he gets the F out of Dodge. Personally, I think he wants to collect his golden parachute and laugh, go buy an island, and never be heard from again. But I like I said, I know that the deal getting done is incredibly important, but the fact that there is even talk, Crispy, that he would remain on as the CEO and that the board wouldn't vote this guy out for his past transgressions is gross at best. Sorry,
dude. Like, it's just, I can't believe he's still in charge. I can't, and I understand you're going through an acquisition. That doesn't mean you can't. You have people that are below him that could probably step in and ride the ship. You know what I mean? And I get you don't want to have influx right now, but we're talking about a scumbag. Okay, we're not talking about Phil Spencer leaving right in the middle of this deal. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about that. We're talking about a dude that, you know, you literally just paid hundreds of millions of dollars to the SEC about this whole BS. Okay. And you're going to sit here and you're going to be like, oh, you know, like, I'm going to stay on if we had this deal. It's like, are you threatening people now? Like, dude, like, that's kind of what people, you know, these employees, I mean, that is like something that is going to be huge to them. And I think, you know, this is where it's disheartening. You know, even what Umbra was saying earlier about it just doesn't feel right. There's something wrong here. You know, the tinfoil hat goes, you're like, why is this happening? And, you know, it's insane. And, you know, the worst part is, and everybody's like, oh, he's going to make that much money if dude, this happens all the time. I mean,
it was always going to happen. Was always going to happen.
We went through a merger and we had 2 CEOs. They paid basically, you know, they paid him off and sent him on his way, one of them. So this is going to happen, and it sucks because, you know, it's like, this guy doesn't deserve shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my French. And it's so disheartening. And, you know, I want to see this, you know, kind of start rolling in the right direction. So then you don't feel and see this type of article and be like, man, imagine if that does happen. Imagine how those employees are going to feel. I mean, really, to have somebody like that in charge of the company you're in, you know, when you had this light at the end of the tunnel of working for, you know, being under, you know, working for one of the best companies to work for. Like, I mean, it's like you're going to reach out and then it's like they smack your hand away, and it's the government that smacked your hand away. I mean, really, that's just terrible. So, you know, I hope, regardless of what happens, this man, you know, the board, whatever, he should not be in charge anymore. You've already lost financially. It's not logical. He has not done the right things as being in charge of that company to not get sued and stuff like that. You're losing money because of this man. Regardless of what happens, he's got to go.
Why is Activision dumb enough to let this guy do interviews? What the F are you thinking? You just took the guy who's like, oh, sexual harassment, death threats, and you put him out there like PR. How dumb are you to put that guy on CBS or anything?
Maybe that's the point, Retri. Maybe they're doing it purposely, like Crispy kind of hinted at. Like, I mean, you want this guy still here? You better let this go through.
I mean, maybe Bobby's an idiot. Maybe he's an idiot. And he's like, yeah, I'll be your sacrificial lamb. I'll get my $400 million anyways, right, on the way out. Dang, like, I was like, why is this guy out there? Why isn't Lulu doing the interviews, man? She would kill it.
I figure, and I hate to jump over anybody else. I know I'm not next, but I figure some of that.
All right, brother. Like, go. We'll come back to Fuzzy. Drop your bombs, bro. It's all right.
Appreciate it. I just say this one part, but I figure that is because of his expertise in the field and the position he's in. I figure they'll just say, hey, we're going to use you for all that you're worth until we get rid of you. You know, you got to get paid what you're getting paid until we can get this deal done and get rid of you. It is what it is. I suppose that's really what it comes down to. And despite, you know, love him or hate him, and I'm sure most hate him, and for reasonably so, because you pointed out great reasons, Retri, that, you know, they're going to use him for what his knowledge and expertise in the field is. And what he has said, at least, has been factually fair. He's just, you know, a scumbag in most people's eyes. So it's like, do you really want to hear that from him? I get what your point for sure.
It's just a bad PR stint, but in my opinion, it's like putting your bad piece forward. I mean, never mind. He's basically like, hey, UK, you're not going to be a Silicon Valley without us. Like, maybe you should shut the hell up, dude. I'm just saying.
He's the warning. He's the warning shot. Like, hey, this is what you're going to get if this deal doesn't go through.
Sacrificial lamb. I mean, maybe he feels like, go ahead, say a bunch of stupid stuff, threaten him.
Yeah,
it ain't me, it's you.
It's unfortunate. And if he sticks around, I mean, I don't know. I think you hit it all on the head. I mean, he get people in the higher positions like that who have money, who have influence. They get away with so much nonsense that average people like ourselves just wouldn't get away with. So I absolutely understand the disgust many have for this guy, for sure. I will just say though, like, when he came out to speak what he spoke about, he was correct. Like, you know, he wasn't saying anything that was off the wall. So I think that's just what it comes down to. They're just using him for that. I didn't have too much else to say on it because I don't think of this guy much one way or another. I'm just happy he'll be gone more than likely once this deal is done.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely not going to stay around. Obviously, he allowed for all of this the craziness, if you will, to happen. He was made aware of it. I mean, that's confirmed through emails that have been posted. He was aware of the abuse going on, and as the leader, you did nothing. So you have to. I'm sorry, you have to go down with the ship. You got to get the F out of Dodge. I'm sorry. And the quicker Microsoft gets that done, when this deal, not if the deal gets done, when the deal gets done, because like I said, Microsoft isn't flinging poo saying that we're not going to give you what you want. They're going to go to the negotiation table with the CMA. They're going to say, okay, this is what you want. We can't legitimately, divest Call of Duty and Activision. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. I mean, I've heard some people say that there's a scorched earth theory. Just kill the brand. Just, you know what? We're not going to make Call of Duty anymore after 23 and 24. Sony has the marketing rights. Look what they did in 2022. They made the most money on that platform out of Xbox, PC, and wherever else it was available. We're just going to kill the brand. I mean, would they do that? Probably not. But I'm just saying that they're going to get the deal done. They're going to give them a contract. They're going to sign whatever contract they're going to sign. It's going to be signed into law that if Microsoft violates or breaks that contract, they're going to be in big trouble. And they're going to do everything they can to get the deal done. But Fuzzy, let's get your final thoughts in here. And I'm going to segue into Call of Duty because, folks, it was brought to our attention by several big wigs in the industry, including journalists, that there would not be a new Call of Duty in 2023. Well, I'm here to tell you that there will be, and this comes the way of, let me just pull up who actually said this. Tom Henderson is reporting now. Who is Tom Henderson? He is the owner of Insider Gaming IG, and he went out there and he put a thread out that was pretty bombastic, and we're going to get into that momentarily. But Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on the whole Bobby Kotick situation. I think that this sours the mood, for anyone thinking that he would still be a part of the company if this deal falls through. It's shocking to me.
I mean, we kind of knew that this was going to be the case, and we had talked about some of this before, where if this deal fell apart for any reason, that it would more than likely be the end of Activision because of it not being able to sustain what it's been doing for the past several years. And it would be like a fire sale, IP, studios, and Bobby Kotick would be the captain watching the ship, go down and sink and burn type of thing. So if there's this idea that possibly this deal breaks down, of course he's going to remain in place. And it's from the board standpoint, despite all of the crap he's done, and he's been like if there's ever a
pretty bad,
terrible boss or miserable person, there's just some outright cutthroat and just dastardly deeds that he's done. It's like I imagine with a twirly mustache kind of thing on the weekends type of deal.
I love it.
But
I love the alliteration.
As he's counting his money with his feet.
but the one thing that he has done, and the reason why he still has a job even to this day, is that he's made the board money.
Yeah,
even though they've taken a nosedive as far as their share price when some of this stuff broke, the news broke in California, he still has been able to kind of keep things afloat, and he's the captain of the ship while they made a couple $2 billion this past quarter off of Modern Warfare. So do we want to see this guy go? Yes. I mean, even the board members honestly want to see him go, but right now he's their golden goose or cash cow or however you want to look at him. But I think kind of contrary to what Richard was saying, like, why have that guy there? It's like I think it's actually intentional to some extent. It's like, like, remember this bad guy? Yeah, he's still going to be. He's going to still be here if this all goes to crap type of thing. So I can't wait for him to go. I predicted a long time ago, like when the news first broke, that their board would try to kind of sweet talk Sarah Bond into coming over there, because I figured they're going to want a
Love that
female
idea.
CEO, and at the time it was her and the one for Haven. I forget her name right now. Jade
Bonnie,
Raymond.
not Bonnie Ross.
No, I know
Jade
you're
Raymond. I think.
Jade Raymond. Yes, Jade.
I figured those were probably the two top candidates that their board would look at, but somehow I guess the Microsoft deal came into place, and it's like, well, Sarah Bond will still be associated with Activision in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not as CEO, but I'm looking forward to whoever they put in place after the deal goes through to get rid of Bobby. And like a few of you guys were saying before, Lulu would be a nice alternative. But yeah, I think Bobby's got to go. And I think just keeping him out there and reminding people this piece of crap is still in charge. Yeah, this is like the CMA and EU and FTC, wake up and look who's still at the helm, and just put your political grandstanding aside and get this deal done if you care about the workers or employees and so forth, like they claimed they originally did in the beginning. So we'll see.
Well, look, just for for understanding, when you're talking about the stock prices where they are now, the current stock price for Activision right now is on the low end at $76.70. Their highest reported stock price per stock was on February 12th of 2021. They were trading for $102.70 per share. That is a huge drop from 2020, from 2021 to 2023. So yes, because of this whole situation, they have, they've still been making money hand over fist. There's no doubt about it. Call of Duty was one of the biggest selling, IPs for last year, Modern Warfare 2 Remake. But yeah, that's the highest the stock has ever been, almost $103 per share. And they are trading, just under $70 per share, and that's a huge drop off. That's almost $35 per share. That's a lot. But look, speaking of Call of Duty, I want to segue, because again, like I said, this is going to be one big segue after another, folks, because the information that we have all goes hand in hand. It actually makes it easier to produce a show with as many panel members as I have, as many people in the chat, so we make it digestible, whether you catch it live or you catch it on demand. But let's bring in the Tom Henderson story and the levy of tweets that he put out there. He wrote a story. He posted this yesterday. Exclusive. Call of Duty 2023 will have a beta, campaign early access, and more. And he goes on to say from his official Twitter account, on the whole, I thought Call of Duty was taking a break for 2023. Comment. He goes, yeah, they were, but it changed. It's why leaks are leaks, because they have been reported before, intended, and are subject to change. Always take leaks with a grain of salt, even this one. He goes on to say, I'm also not sure how I can say this any clearer, but it is a new premium release, just like we've been getting for the past 2 decades. Maybe the best way to look at it is getting Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 back to back. They are connected, but they are entirely new games. He goes on to say, I probably bet on it being Modern Warfare 3, to be honest, but I don't know the name of it yet. This is again, I'm in the camp, folks. I thought that Call of Duty was only getting premium DLC continuing Modern Warfare 2. That has apparently been bucked by Tom Henderson, who is the owner of Insider Gaming. And I'm going to read the story verbatim, folks. Previous rumors have suggested that the game will be premium DLC for Modern Warfare 2, as I just said. And although that it appears to have been true at some point, Insider Gaming understands that the project changed direction to become a full premium standalone release plan for 2023. As for the content of the title, details are currently scarce, but the game will be heavily connected to Modern Warfare series. If recent Call of Duty titles are to go by though, expect a lot for multiplayer. Let's get into this, guys. I mean, look, I buy Call of Duty for the single player. I have always bought it for the single player. So again, I will be buying it for the single player once more. I like Call of Duty. I didn't finish Modern Warfare 2 because it's just, too many games, not enough time. But considering, Retri, how much money, dude, they made so much money last year from Call of Duty's remake of Modern Warfare 2. It's just bonkers.
It's $1 billion in 10 days,
Is this
right?
when Tom? Yeah, $1 billion in 10 days. So we don't know what they're up to now. I could look it up while you're talking and get the exact number of how much money they made. But most of that money was made on PlayStation. FYI, folks, if you want to know the market leader doing what the market leader does, they made most of the money for Call of Duty on PlayStation because, well, they have the marketing rights and it makes sense. Now, when Tom Henderson says that it changed, Retri, do you think that the amount of money that they made last year made them change direction?
I don't think the premium DLC is dead. I don't think it is. I think there will be. I mean, it sounds like there will be another Call of Duty. I mean, maybe it's a la kind of like what happened with Miles Morales, right? Like that. They kind of became its own thing. It started off as DLC and then became its own standalone game for a cheaper price. I do not see them not doing premium DLC for their best selling. That also to me doesn't make sense for their best selling Call of Duty of all time. It would piss off the community to no end. Multiplayer is where it's at for Call of Duty, and they're not going to snuff. They're not going to screw over, unless they're idiots, their biggest player base ever. I just don't see that happening. I think both things can happen, right? There's so many studios under there, and Sledgehammer is supposed to be the one that's going to be making this new full, standalone game, right? How many damn studios work in Call of Duty anyways? Premium
Usually
DLC,
6, dude. Yeah, it's like 5 or 6. Right? Yeah.
So, I don't see. I see both happening personally. It was always weird to me that that there was even rumors about Call of Duty not being annual because it's such a big deal every single year. That did seem odd when it first came out, but at the same time there was kind of mixed feelings about it. Or like, okay, cool, gives them longer to breathe. It's good for the devs. Blah blah blah. Well, It's clear they don't care that much about the people they work for because Bobby's still sitting there, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm not shocked that they are doing another standalone game. I personally believe there will be premium content. I can almost guarantee it. It would be absolute crazy for them not to do that since they've been doing that for years. So yeah, I mean, good on Tom for finding this out. But rumors are rumors, and things change, right? Things are always fluid. If maybe it made sense for them to do this when they first started talking about it, and now it doesn't. And I mean, it could be based off of obviously the sales of what they just did. I would want to repeat that. I would want to rinse and repeat that success as well. Who the heck wouldn't? Especially for shareholders, right? When your stock is down, they're down. They might have sold like crazy, but their stock is not as high as it used to be by about 30%. So I like COD. I play multiplayer. I'm here for the multiplayer versus like you're here for the story and the campaign. I'm excited to see what Sledgehammer is going to do. but they're just the forefront, and they're going to get backed up by a bunch of other studios that are doing this as well. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool news. It makes a lot of sense financially for them to do this. So
Yeah.
I can't say I'm too surprised. And obviously, PlayStation will get all the goodies first. They'll get the beta first. They'll get everything first.
Yes, that's what they do
because of those marketing rates. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I blame Microsoft for not keeping up with that. They had that chance to continue the marketing rights through the Xbox 360 into the Xbox One, and they said nay, which was dumb.
And that's the Xbox I want to see. Boom! I want them to. When I talk about marketing rights, I'm not even giving Sony crap about doing it necessarily. I just want Microsoft to do the same damn thing.
Yeah,
that's
rip
what
a
I'm
page
saying.
out of their book and follow suit.
Yep.
Yes. So
Yep.
sometimes,
Fire.
sometimes
Exactly.
copying the champion is a winning move. Don't be afraid to copy. People copy you all the time, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, no, not at all. Let's bring in Crispy Bomb. Crispy, before we get your point on whether or not you're surprised that Modern Warfare is getting a full-on release or a premium release in 2023. Let me just read you some numbers. They ask, how much money did Call of Duty make in 2022? According to the story that I pulled in front of me right now, this comes from Statista.com. The game enjoyed great success in its opening months, amassing 88 million downloads worldwide in the first month after release. In December 2022, the title generated approximately $30.91 million US, and the app grossed the amount over $1.1 billion since its release, and this is being reported as February 1st, 2023. I think that says it all as to why they're making another game and not just doing premium DLC, because what could you charge for premium DLC? $30? You're probably going to get that also, but they want to get a game out there, and it's going to be a remaster, and it's probably going to be Modern Warfare 3 or even Black Ops 1 for that matter. What are your thoughts on this, Crispy?
Gotta stick with what's working, right? It wasn't good with too great with Cold War, so they're like, oh, we could take a year off, and then all of a sudden, Modern Warfare 2 comes out, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, we forgot about how much money we make off this. So let's pivot a little bit. I mean, we've seen a lot of games do it, and the running joke, oh, it's just a DLC, but I mean, it made full games out of them. You know what I mean? So. You could have both. Could you possibly just package Modern Warfare 2 with 3 and then add a premium DLC after that type thing? You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those things where they're kind of playing with people's emotions right now in the community. I don't know, but it's like they're constantly pivoting back and forth, and there's a lot of influx going on clearly. So I think they look at the money and they say they need it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because you also got to just think about that fine they just paid and all this other stuff. Need something to, at minimum, keep that stock price the same. So that's what they're probably like, we're just going to do it now. And, if that happens, why would I be surprised? Does it affect me? No, it doesn't. I'm not a Call of Duty fan. Old Call of Duties way back when, I played them, and then I just got bored with it. It's kind of like, people can't believe that I've never played Grand Theft Auto 5. I got bored of it. So
you would?
Yeah. Never have played Grand Theft Auto 5. No, I swear to God in my life, never
missed that on Trevor.
Yeah. So like I look at it and I say, I kind of feel like, it's no surprise because they've been, EA's been doing this with Madden forever and stuff like that. And to be fair, I mean, this last iteration, they brought the quality back up, which, if they can continue to do that, that's good. You know what I mean? Because if you can sustain every year, but keep bumping that quality up a little bit. Like I might actually play Madden now because it's going to be in Game Pass, in the EA Play. So, but I look at these games and I'm just like, when I actually if I ever get excited, then I buy it. But generally, it's just regurgitating, and I just have no interest.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. Again, it's not for everybody. It's been running for a couple of decades now, so it's understandable to kind of fall out of love with an IP that does the same thing, even though it's good, may not be something you want to continue to support. That makes sense, especially when they're starting to do the remaster thing. And they don't change much, and it is what it is. Umbra, let's bring you in on the conversation. Are you surprised that based on just the numbers, it just makes financial sense?
Mhm.
And when Tom Henderson says, well, yes, the plan was this, but it changed because of the numbers. You cannot deny it makes 88 million downloads in December. Like, what?
That's crazy. Yeah, when you said it, I was like, sheesh. It's funny. I know. Sheesh.
I want to punch myself for doing that.
That ought to get us some younger viewers. They won't think it's all us boomers. But no, boom. When you said that, I was like, even myself, I was like, damn, that's a lot of people. Call of Duty is a monster, man. And I get a little mad when I think about it because I'm not really a COD fan. I will also play the campaign. I do like their campaigns. Outside of Ghost, I absolutely hated that I bought that and was like, what is this? It was like a terrible Michael Bay movie. It was like America without the F yeah at the end of it. It was just terrible. I'm like, why did I buy this? Why? Anyway, Call of Duty hasn't really hit for me multiplayer wise. I don't care for Twitch shooting style, shooters. I like my Halo. I'm sorry. And it's no shade to anybody who does. It is what it is. It's just not my preference. That said, I know it's a surprise, and I do wish that Halo got the numbers it got. It is neither here nor there. But getting back, I am surprised by that because we heard speculation, and obvious, like Retri pointed out, rumors are rumors until it's it's solidified, right? So, but the thought is that they're going to have a bi-yearly release schedule, which I was a fan of because, and I said this, I believe, on some podcast. I don't know if it was here or maybe multiple places, but as I'm all over the place, but because it would free up some of those support studios, and these support studios are quality people and teams and devs. The Raven Softwares, you know what I mean, who has so many Call of Duties under their belt now. It's ridiculous. I saw it had a Call of Duty, development door they had, and it had all those stickers of all the games they worked on. And it was like the bottom half was just dominated by Call of Duty, and that happens because they release so frequently. To me, that would give me franchise burnout. To me, I can't even imagine if we switch places and put Halo in a situation where we just got Halo 2, and then Halo 3 is coming out, the next year or later this year. It's like, what? Now, as a fan, I'd be happy to continue the story, but it'll be like, wait a minute, why are you releasing that so fast? It doesn't seem like that's enough time, right? And I think that's part of the issue for me with Call of Duty is just a churning out, they're just churning out sequels for money. That's all it comes down to. And to me, that takes away the thought of passion being in the project. There's no shade to anybody. I'm sure the campaigns are still great. I did love Modern Warfare remake and all of that, the modern one and whatever. And like I said, to the fans of it, I'm sure might be a plus or a boom to you. But then I look at it like those who, unless it's on Game Pass, right? Once that goes through, then it might be a negative because you're like, I just bought this and now this is coming out. So what's going to happen? We're all going to migrate over to this after a year for multiplayer. I don't know if that's a plus or a negative to the fan base. I really don't. What I will say is it's something that also crossed my mind. And I don't know, like, we were talking about the two bi-yearly release thing. And the report is that Sony had marketing for, I believe, 3 more games. So 1 game last year. If we get this year, that's another. That means probably they'll have another game the next year after that, just if they're going to keep going on that cadence, right? Or maybe if they don't. Maybe they decide to go to the bi-yearly thing after that. Microsoft would have, once the deal of acquisition is done, of course, they would have marketing rights back by 2024. More than likely, if this is the situation that it release those 3 games that they're obligated to. So it's interesting just thinking on it. But I don't know, man. I feel like
are you trying to suggest maybe they're just pushing one out?
It
so
kind of feels like
sooner?
That. That's exactly. It's tinfoil hat. I forgot to announce
it.
I forgot to announce. I put my tinfoil
Put your
hat back
tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, I put the tinfoil kufi back on. I forgot to say that, but yeah, it kind of seems like. I mean, obviously, it's going to be more money too. That's the major obvious reason why. But I feel like also it could be a case of where, hey, we'll get these things out that we're obligated to. Because it happens in all forms of media and things like that. Music artists do that, for instance, where they're obligated to get, so many albums done to a company before they can move on. And they'll put out these projects really quick, like a Drake, for instance, who will put out so many projects so quickly that he gets out of the contract he was on and can re-up for so much more money. So I wonder if that plays into it as well. I mean, the biggest factor, obviously, is, as you guys pointed out, money at the end of the day. Well, I see you, KSI. He said Activision is acting like Nas and drop mad albums to get out of the way. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I can see that. And Parker, it says it was confirmed. You're saying it was confirmed, but Tom Henderson is pointing out that, that was just a rumor. He's saying that's no certain. It wasn't certain that was the case. So, right. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. It feels like too quick of a turnaround to have another release out. If I was a big time fan of the multiplayer or whatever, I'd be a little like, wait a minute, why? But seeing how, like, again, it's so many dynamics, because if it comes to Xbox Game Pass, if, once the deal is done, will I complain? No, because I'm getting it on Game Pass. It's nothing to complain about.
And that's the value of Game Pass.
Absolutely.
You're going to get a $70 game that would cost you $76.43 here in New Rochelle, New York, which is what I pay with tax. And you would have to just get it, just press download or automatically download it. And that's that's why I want this deal to go through. For me personally, selfishly, I want more for my money.
Facts. I'm greedy. I told you. Get everything as far as I'm concerned. Get everything. I know people are like, oh, I don't like consolidation. Too bad. Yeah. What's that guy say on the holes? Well, that's too damn bad. Yeah, I do, because I want it all.
No, and you're not wrong for it. Listen, let's get Fuzzy Belvedere's final points on it, and we're going to end the show a little bit earlier today, folks, because I do have some family things that just came up on the back end. So I'm typing away. I'm trying to handle two things at once. Everything is good, but I gotta take care of some family business. Let's get your final opinion on this, Fuzzy, regarding the. Are you even surprised that they would bring this back?
No, to continue like what Infinite Umbra was saying, as far as the conspiracy to kind of push another game out to kind of get one checked off the box, so that way they can finish this deal with Sony. I think it goes to show the feelings that Activision has towards Sony at this point, considering they're blocking some of these people's billions of dollars from going through as far as this whole deal. So they're like, you know what? After this, it's over. No more phone calls, no more visit rights, no more nothing. Just here's your last game. I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad one or rushed or anything like that, but it just seems like that's part of the whole deal. It's just it changed from being, oh, we were going to do this premium DLC, like a continuation, so we can kind of put a lot of these studios on break or have them work on other things. And no, you know what? Let's just hurry up and end this relationship with Sony as soon as we can. But it I don't know. I think in the grand scheme of things, with this game coming out for 2023, I guess the next possible thing with this whole deal of the CMA and EU wanting them to diversify the companies and the IPs, is just do away with the Call of Duty name. Come up with something different. Call it whatever, but just be done with it. But yeah, it not surprising. They need the money. Well, I won't say they need the money, but they definitely want to make the kind of money that they made this past year off of Modern Warfare 2, off of this next game. And if they can hurry up and close some contracts in the meantime, I'm pretty sure that there's some people in the background that are happy about that as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes for 2024. But yeah, no real surprises. Hurry up and finish the deal, finish the contract, and make us some money while we're at it. That's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it makes perfect sense. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, this was an amazing show with an amazing panel packed with absolutely astounding comments and theories and thoughts. We had almost 700 people here today, which is, again, a record for this small channel. We are starting to creep each and every show closer and closer to the Randall Thors, the Colties Woods, and of course the Dealer Gaming, which see almost 1K on a regular basis. We would love to get to that. If you are, again, new, finding the channel for the first time, I would ask that you consider subscribing. Again, normally we don't curse. There were some curses due to me that threw it out there because, again, I get in my feels, as the kids say, and sometimes I let it go, and sometimes I shouldn't. But couple super chats. Jaguar Gaming Network. Hey, dude, welcome back, brother. He says this after dropping a $2 super chat. Love you, Boom. Thanks for standing up for yourself. I mean, I don't like to do that. I don't like to be the a-ho host, but I'm not going to get abused, and I'm not going to get poked, and I'm not going to get pushed. I don't do the bullying thing. And your opinion is your opinion, but there's a way to give it and not be a D-bag. Sorry.
Exactly.
That's the way to do that. You can give us your opinion, and that's fine. The minute you cross a line and I call you to the carpet, I expect you to stand at attention because I'm going to give it to you the same way you tried to give it to me.
Be careful with calling people stupid in the chat too, guys. I saw one of your posts. I'm very close from banning one of you, and I'm not even a mod. But watch yourself.
Well, you know what? Let's change that. As a matter of fact, just make a comment in there, and I'll make you a mod right now. And if you see that kind of shenanigans, we will get rid of it.
All right.
Yeah, just make a comment, and I'll just add you as a mod.
I don't put up with that crap.
Yeah, no.
I'm not here for that.
We're not going to stand for that kind of shenanigans. This is supposed to be a fun show about video games.
Yeah.
The minute you start making it personal, you're out.
Yeah. We can have different opinions, and a lot of people disagree with my opinions, and that's fine. But once you start calling the panel stupid,
yeah,
not okay.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give you the rights right now. Whoever said that, just ban them. That's all. Bye. Oh yeah. Let me. Psychonauts is now a modder as well. There you go. Like I said, just throw a comment in there, Retri, and I'll make you a modder as well. Galvestron drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Avalanche is live on Twitch. If anyone wants Merlin's cloak, I already got approved for it. I was running in the background, so thank you for that. Just need to open it and watch from another tab on mute. This is what I did, Galvestron. Thank you for the generosity and the hot tip. And
thanks for pointing that out, brother, because I got mine too.
I did too. Sweet.
Listen, I just finished the first Merlin's trial. I'm 20 hours in. I'm addicted like crack cocaine. It's ridiculous. I can't stop playing that game. Justin drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, watch out for major Hogwarts story spoilers. Angry little people are posting them everywhere. Are on under anything lightly related to the game. Yeah, people are just jerks. I hate people sometimes. I love people, but I sometimes hate people, especially when they do dumb things like that. Crispy Bomb, sell your brand, brother. Where could we reach out to you on social media? But more importantly, find you on other shows.
Hey, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Everybody have a great weekend, and don't get triggered and don't call people names, please.
Don't do it.
At Chris Bomb on Twitter, Chris Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night 7 p.m., Wednesday primetime gaming 7 p.m., Thursday 8 p.m. on the next podcast, and back here many times. So we'll see you then.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Definitely appreciate you being here. I love when you show up because when you roll through, it's unexpected and you always drop it like it's hot. But thanks so much for being here. Fuzzy Belvedere, sell your brand, brother. Talk about where people could check out the best place for anything and everything racing, and where could people find you on social media?
Oh, it was awesome being on here with you guys, and sorry for rambling a bit, but yeah, this whole deal's got me just confused on why things are taking so long. But thank you so much for having me. Thanks for everybody in the chat that was being civil. But for those that want to hear my endless rambles on anything gaming, whether it be racing or Hogwarts or that wizard game, as some people want to call it, just follow me on social media, Twitter and YouTube at Fuzzy_Belvedere. Look forward to seeing you guys. Was it Monday at 12 noon
we'll
on
be there,
Xbox Lunch Break Special right here on Double Barrel Gaming. And then once again, 10 a.m. next Friday. Hope to see you guys here for Breakfast with Boom. Can't wait.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. Real shout out to Thriller Ali in the chat. He says, at Mr. BoomStick XL, first time viewer. Welcome, dude. He says, just subscribed. Great show, my brother. Well, thank you so much for subscribing, and thanks for rolling through. Again, I do this 5 days a week, 5 different panels, all fun content. Normally, I don't get as testy as I was today, especially like I said, the moderators really handle their business, do a good job on doing it. I added a couple of moderators today. I'm not gonna take any attacks on the panel. You do that once and you're gone. That's it. That you call
I'm
names.
not gonna come after that person. I'm giving him one more shot. I'll talk to you about it after. Boom. But
Yeah, okay.
this person's been repeatedly saying stuff like that since I've been on your stuff since day one. So
Well,
there's
the next
a
time he does
pattern
it, just
there.
ban him. That's all,
All right.
because I'm not gonna stand for that. I'll tell you, I'm gonna end the show.
I
'cause
love
got things to
everybody,
do.
man. Yeah.
But I gotta throw this out there. Who is the dumb one here? If you're saying that we're stupid, but you continue to tune in and listen, I'm just saying it makes no sense. You're literally punishing yourself.
That's a good point.
You're
Yep.
whipping yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're literally whipping yourself. Just don't unsubscribe. Give me a thumbs down. Give me the finger. It's okay. But why be here in the chat listening? It's psychotic. It's really
Misery loves
you,
company.
You need to sit down in a chair, dude, and speak to somebody about those anger issues that are pent up. I don't know what else to tell you, but ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Breakfast with Boom. Of course, I want to thank everyone here. We had almost 700 people. That's big for this little channel. We're on the hunt for 12K. Hopefully, we will hit that before the end of the month. Of course, a big shout out to all the super chats that came in. Those obviously power the big giveaways. We've already announced 2. We're going to probably be giving as much as we gave away last year, which is something my wife and I really enjoy doing, is giving back, paying it forward. And of course, I'll close out the show with
Boom.
something. Yes, sir.
I didn't get a chance to
Oh
sign
my
up, brother.
God. Well, there you go.
I didn't either, but it's all good.
I'm
know
gonna
what?
make it really quick.
Let's get
I
to
don't have to do
Retri. No. Let's get to the outros. I don't know where my mind is. I
No, you're
got
all right.
thrown off by this.
You want to get back to Hog? We want to get back to Wizarding. I get it.
No, actually, I actually want to
Exactly.
go
I
lie
cannot
down
wait.
because Mrs. Boom and I were up at 4:45.
Oh,
We're out
yeah.
the door
That's
at
crazy.
5:10.
Oh,
We
yeah, I
did
saw you post that.
4.28 miles on a
Yeah.
hike.
Whew.
Nice.
Came back, and we were going to go to sleep, but then we were like, we can't sleep, and we've been up ever since. So I want to go get some shut eye.
Take a nap.
We did a nice. We did almost 4.5 miles today this morning, and it was awesome. It's a little
Nice.
humid here in New York, which I didn't like. But Retri, sell your brand, brother. Talk about Game Pass _daily and the best place to find everything that you may need to know about Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, if you guys want to know, like Boom said, everything about Game Pass, follow me, Game Pass _daily on Twitter and Game Pass Daily on TikTok and YouTube. I make videos just about every day, as much as I possibly can, and I try to keep it happy, man. I am trying to stay away from the ABK stuff. I did just do a video about it. It drives me nuts. I just want it to be over with. Pull that Band-Aid off already. But yeah, so it is what it is. So join us on Game Pass Daily, man. We'd love to have you guys. And if you want to join the our Xbox community nights, our chat where we all play games together, just hit me up. Friend request me at Retri on Xbox. And you don't have to contact me about it. Just friend request me. It's perfectly okay.
Nice, good stuff. And the best voice in the business, who's working on his double platinum debut album behind the scenes, Infinite Umbra. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about not only what other shows you're on, where can people find you on social media, but you also have your own thing that you're looking to put together. You got a lot of the pieces in place. You just need help with an intro, outro. Hopefully I set you in the right path with Sean Labrie, and you can get that done.
You absolutely have. I got to give you praise, brother. And somebody else I got to shout out, by the way. Boxing Burger. I got to give the brother love.
Boxing Burger.
Box has reached out to me, helped me out with a layout option and just thoughts and things like that. I'm going to elaborate and get it much more
streamlined.
Streamlined and professionally done by those who do graphic design and such. But it's a good start. And so I got to give you both praises. Thank you guys for holding me down and just really, shedding a light of which way to go and pushing me in the right direction, and for everybody else who's come in to support us. And like you said, we're getting crazy numbers here now where people come in and listen to us, and none of us take it for granted. Thank you all for showing up and giving your thoughts and things like that too. And like was pointed out, I'm not going to keep hazing the person. I don't know who it is exactly, but I got an idea. But yeah, we don't have to be mean to each other. You can disagree.
Absolutely. You absolutely
Yeah.
do not have to be mean to each other. Being
Absolutely.
nice pays off. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah, I hate to borrow Colt's line, but be nice.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. we don't have a show tonight for Xbox Infinite, unforeseen circumstances rather. So we won't be on anything. So if anybody is having a show tonight, you want a brother to swing through, I might be available, depending if Rush has let me go.
What are you on your fourth? Are you on your fourth?
Fourth
Wow.
place.
Man, I thought I had it bad. You win. Holy moly.
This
That's
game
awesome.
is a rhythmic DMC. I cannot let it go.
Yeah,
It won't let
it's a
me
masterpiece.
go. I love it, honestly. The more I play it, the more I'm like, this game is so good. I can't wait for a sequel. Anyway, yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Come through, support it, brother. I do have my show I'm working on to get it out the way. If you go to my page, you'll actually see the logo called The Fix, and you'll hear the theme I had commissioned and made for it. I think it's dope.
Dope
Yeah,
track,
I love
man.
it.
Thank you. And other people came through and heard it, and they were like, oh, I love it. So check
I
it
like
out.
the
Give me a
artwork
check.
too. It's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I had Risk help me on it a bit, but then I had somebody who does graphic designs, bring it through. So, but yeah, see you guys later. Thank you for the support.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And again, folks, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me with kids. And he said simply, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated, and also doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming. And we'll see you back here next week on the new episode of Breakfast with Boom.